Hi, welcome to GTS Distribution's Come and Play Day here in Seattle. My name is Rodney Smith from Watch It Played, and I'd like to invite you to join me as we take a look at one of the many games being featured here at this event. So let's go into the Watch It Played room and see what's on the table next. All right, well now we've been joined by Brian from Fantasy Flight Games, and it's kind of obvious, I think, but what game did you bring with you here?
So I brought with us the Edge of the Empire beginner game, which is sort of an introductory box for the Star Wars role-playing game that we do.
I was excited to see this because I actually did get a chance to try out the beta rules that were released Gen Con 2012, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and so this is to help people who want to get started and jump right into the game?
Yeah, so there's sort of two people that I can see this being really great for.
Okay.
The main thing we were trying to do with this is so it's a pen and paper role-playing game, like Dungeons and Dragons, that style of game. And we wanted to make a really good product for somebody who had never role-played before, had very little idea what it was, to really introduce them to the concept. Because it's a very unique kind of game experience as opposed to just playing a board game or a card game.
Yes.
So whether it's the Star Wars can maybe bring them into that, but it's supposed to be a really great experience for somebody who's never role-played before.
Right.
And then also for somebody who maybe has role-played and they want to try out our rules system, the dice system, this is a great kind of sample of what the game is going to be like.
This gives them a taste. They can then decide, this is something I want to go farther into if they want to. Okay. Yeah, and that's interesting because, Fantasy Flight Games, you guys do a lot of board and card games, but someone sees this in your catalog and goes, well, I'm not a role player. This gives them a way to try it out,
yes,
and handholds them through it, I imagine, right?
Yeah, and it does have some more components than some pen and paper role-playing games would have. It's not there's no grid or anything that the battles are happening on. It's very narrative, very story-based kind of game. But we've got some nice tokens and things to sort of, if you are more of a board gamer, to make you feel comfortable.
Okay. Does this beginner game come with scenarios or something that you can play out? How does that work?
So the first thing you find, right, as you open it up, it says read this first, right? And this is going to kind of walk you through what it's like to roleplay. It's got a script here of what a role-playing game sounds like. Because if you've never done it before, it's very weird. And then on the back, you've got the opening crawl here, right, for your first scenario.
Right.
And so there's two books. There's Read This Second, right? And so this is an adventure book. And so this is a whole scenario. And it's sort of designed for the person who's going to be the GM to read it ahead of time.
Okay.
But then it's going to walk the players through a game, and as they play the game, introduce the mechanics one at a time.
Okay, so you're not being hit with everything at once. Here's a little bit of the rules at a time as we need it in the gameplay. Is
Absolutely.
That the idea?
Yeah. Okay. And so it'll sort of say, here's some things you could do. What do you want to do, right? And how to resolve that. And it's very kind of a straightforward, simple sort of thing. And so there's 4 pre-generated characters, right? And so you got lots of great art and big character sheets with lots of sort of little reference things right there with your character sheets. You're able to keep track of all of that. And then as you go through the thing, it'll actually say at some point you'll level up, right? And so you turn the pages, and now your character's got some experience. You don't have to make those choices.
You don't have to do all the management of upgrading your character or leveling it up. It's doing this for you. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. And so then after you've sort of played through that first scenario with these pre-generated characters, you can actually flip it over here and customize them a little bit. And it comes with a very simple rule book here. So read this book last.
Yes.
And so this is the very condensed version of the rules of the role-playing game. So if you want to keep doing scenarios, there's a second sort of introductory adventure on the website that you can download that sort of continues where this story leaves off. Coming out this next week here, we have the...
Here we go. This is
the full-on rule.
You're ready now. You like this experience?
Yeah.
Here we go.
So this is 450 pages. It has, full character creation, all the adversaries. It's I think a real pretty book. So
you can feel free to leave this here when you go. It's fine. Yeah,
that's understandable. So one thing that's important to kind of note about this Star Wars role-playing game is it's not just called Star Wars role-playing. It's called Edge of the Empire.
Right.
Because it's really kind of... The Star Wars universe is very big. There's lots of different stories that happen there. And so this is really focused in on one part of it. So this is focused in on the smugglers and bounty hunters, the scum and villainy, sort of the Han Solo part of the Star Wars story. So all the characters in this will be, bounty hunters or smugglers or colonists or things like that. So we have this envisioned as a series of lines of role-playing games that will all use the same basic system and be compatible with one another, but
Right.
are each focused on a different kind of story. So next summer, we plan on releasing Age of Rebellion, which will be focused on the military and, like, you know, X-wing pilots and diplomats and
Okay.
spies and, you know.
So people can explore these different areas of
Yep.
the Star Wars universe by using these different books that are being released.
And
Okay.
of course, sort of the big question we get was like, well, if this is focused on kind of the Han Solo story, where are the Jedi's, right?
Sure.
And so this game has Force rules in it, and you can
Yes.
kind of do the things they were doing in A New Hope, right?
Yes.
Like they're not flipping off buildings, shooting lightning or anything
Okay.
in there, right? But you can cloud people's minds, move things around.
Get a taste of it.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
For the most part, you know, if your character sees a lightsaber in Edge of the Empire, you're in a lot of trouble. Like that's a bad sign.
Yeah.
But
Right.
the plan is in a couple of years to release Force and Destiny, right? Which will
Okay.
be a whole line of books focused on the Jedi and Force users.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice little tease. Now, one thing I thought would be interesting to talk about is the dice, because that's when I was playing my little sample game of it. That really stood out to me.
So what's great about the dice? So in a lot of role-playing games, you'll have your skill and your difficulty, right?
Right.
And you'll say, oh, it's difficulty this, and you get to add a bonus for this and subtract
Sure,
a bonus
yeah.
for this. Then you roll the die, and you get a result, and you either succeed or you fail.
Yes.
And that's it. And what's really cool about this dice system is you can succeed and you can fail, and then you can also have something advantageous or disadvantageous happen to you as a result of your action. So let me just give you a little example here.
Sure, yeah.
So whenever you're going to do something, you have to build your dice pool, and the different colors of dice here all come from different things your characters might be doing. So let's say you're playing Osha here, who wants to. She's running away from some Grimorian guards, and she wants to climb into the rafters of the cantina, right?
Sure, yeah.
So that's an athletics check. So she's going to get 2 of these ability dice because her brawn is a kind of an average 2. So that's not great.
Okay.
But she does have a rank in the skill, so she gets to upgrade one of those green dice to one of these yellow skill dice here. Now the GM is going to set a difficulty number based on how hard he thinks the task is. So it's like the roof's tall but not super tall, so that's going to be 2 of these purple dice.
Okay.
Okay. There's these destiny points out there, and the GM could spend one of those to increase the difficulty. Upgrade one of those.
Create a greater challenge for the
Create a
player
greater
here.
challenge.
Okay.
Okay. There's also these advantage boost dice and the black dice here, which are sort of their opposite, that are going to come from sort of situations, right? So
Okay.
it's like, oh, there's some crates nearby that you're able to jump on. That'll give you a boost die. But the roof is leaky and the beams are wet.
Okay,
right?
sure. Yeah,
So that's
yeah,
going to be
okay.
a penalty dice here. And so you're going to sort of build this dice pool based on the situation, based on sort of the role playing, players can ask questions, try to, interject things like, oh, can I, get a hand from my ally? Okay, sure. So that's maybe an extra
Okay.
boost dice there.
Beneficial die now. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So once you've taken all this, you're going to roll this.
Yeah.
And there's 2 flavors of symbols. See how the roll works out here.
Yeah.
So there are successes here, which are these little explosions, and failures, which are these triangles. And so they're going to cancel out. And if you have any successes left over after you've canceled the symbols out, then you succeed in the task.
Okay, all
And the
right.
number of successes you get doesn't matter in most things. It's just, do I succeed or don't
Okay,
die?
right.
But so what's cool is, in addition to that, there are disadvantage, which are these little Imperial crests, and advantage, which are these little Jedi crests here.
Right.
And if you have more advantage left over, then something beneficial, totally irrelevant to whether you succeed or not, happens. And if you have more disadvantage left over, something bad happens.
So even if you failed this maneuver, but you
Right.
had more advantages, something good can come out of this. So it's like a
Yes.
storytelling thing that's happening.
Yes.
Right? It feels like that.
And so what's cool is so mechanically in the rules, there's some sort of like, oh, if you have extra threat left over, you take some stress, right?
Right.
And one of the, you sort of health and stress, and so you can take some stress, or the GM can use that as a jumping off point for a story, right? It's
Okay.
like, well, you failed to get up on the bar, but you had some advantage. So as you're pulling yourself up, you notice something on the other side of the room.
Okay.
Right? So you can use it both ways. So the last symbol that's going on there. So on this yellow die, there's the triumph, and on the red die, there's the despair, which count as a success or failure, respectively, and then also means something really great happened, something totally unexpected.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So the despair is sort of like, oh, you fly your ship away from the TIE fighters, land on the asteroid, but there's a giant worm in it, right? Like,
Right.
like, and it's so
These are the more extreme bad things, right? When you see
Yes.
those symbols. Okay.
and they're really it's really cool. It's very Star Warsy, right?
Right.
Where nothing is just sort of happens, right? It always has ramifications and really lends itself to kind of the narrative flow of the game.
Okay. So listen, if someone's interested in what they're seeing here and they want to find out more information, where should they go for that?
So playing the beginner game, it's the beginner game itself is $29.95, and it comes
Right.
with a set of these dice, which is a great deal because we'll sell them individually later on here.
Yes.
For $14.95 for a set
Okay.
of dice. So I mean, those you're going to be able to use as long as you're playing this game.
Right. So you're not just getting the dice, but you're also getting all this other stuff.
All this
with
other
it.
stuff
Okay.
that'll let you try out the game and see what's going on there. I mean, on our website we have lots of descriptions
Okay.
of the game and things like that. There's like you said, we released this beta, so there's already a lot of people out there online talking about the
Right,
game and the game
right.
system. And
Excellent. Well, I really appreciate you coming here and showing us and giving us a sample of how the game works and all the stuff that comes in the beginner box. I think it's a great overview. Thank you, Brian. I
Absolutely.
appreciate that.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you guys for watching.